All right, so let's talk about the ending of Stranger Things. You've been waiting for years, right? The hype is massive. And then the final episode drops. The story is officially over. But instead of this huge global celebration, the internet just kind of explodes. And not in a good way. It gets flooded with this overwhelming sense of disappointment. So why? I mean, think about it. The ending did everything it was supposed to do, on paper. It tied up all the loose ends, it gave us a pretty clear resolution. So how on earth does an ending that checks all the boxes leave so many people feeling, well, completely empty? That's the huge mystery we're going to unpack here. Seriously, what went wrong? Almost right away, you started seeing this pop up everywhere online. Just two simple words. That's it. And it wasn't even anger, which is almost worse. It was just this massive feeling of anticlimax. Like, for a show this big, this monumental, something absolutely vital was just missing from his final moments. And this is the paradox that left so many fans scratching their heads. The story was obviously over. I mean, the door was shut for good. But at the same time, that emotional journey, it felt totally unfinished. So you were left with an ending that was somehow both final and just deeply, deeply unsatisfying. Okay, so Section 1, in ending a disappointment. To really get to the bottom of this feeling, we've got to look at what the finale actually did. And you'll see, on the surface, it followed a very familiar, almost traditional path to get to its conclusion. Yeah, just take a look at the checklist. The villain? Defeated. The world? Saved. Our core group of heroes? They all survived. The Upside Down? Sealed up tight. And Hawkins starts to heal. I mean, in every single way, it was a super neat, tidy, and totally controlled resolution. But see, that right there, that was the problem. The huge backlash wasn't because it was some devastating, tragic ending. Nope. It was because it was just so expected. After all those years of nail-biting tension and genuine fear, the whole thing just felt safe, almost routine. It was missing that shock, that awe, that feeling that made the show a global phenomenon in the first place. All right, Section 2, the internet's reaction. So as fans were all trying to put their finger on this feeling, this predictability, one single, powerful word started to emerge from the noise. A word that seemed to explain everything. You saw it in Reddit threads, in reviews, in all those reaction videos. One word, over and over again: conformity. And that word just perfectly captured this gut feeling everyone had, that the show had caved to some kind of outside pressure, that it chose to play it safe instead of being truly creative. So this brings us to our next section, number 3, the conformity theory. This idea just snowballed really quickly into what people are now calling the conformity theory. And honestly, it's a pretty compelling explanation for why the show's creators might have gone down such a safe and predictable road for the finale. So what is this conformity theory? Well, at its heart, it's this idea that by the time we got to the final season, Stranger Things wasn't just a story anymore. It was a massive global brand. And the theory suggests the finale wasn't written to serve the narrative, it was designed to protect the brand. And just think about the kind of pressure we're talking about here. You've got huge merchandise lines, potential spin-offs on the table, a whole legacy to protect. If you create a bold or divisive or tragic ending, all of that could be at risk. So you can kind of see how the goal might have shifted from, let's tell the best story possible, to, let's tell the safest one, the one that satisfies the most people. Okay, on to Section 4, why safe felt wrong. So why did this safe approach just feel so fundamentally wrong to so many viewers? Well, to understand that, you have to go back and remember what made us all fall in love with this show to begin with. The show's DNA, right from the start, was built on risk, fear, and unpredictability. You genuinely felt like anyone could be in real danger at any moment. The finale, though, it traded all of that in for safety, resolution, and reassurance. For longtime fans, that shift in tone was like emotional whiplash. The very danger that defined the series was just gone, replaced by this super careful control. And the result of all that? An ending that felt less like a dramatic, explosive conclusion and more like a gentle epilogue, It was just a neat summary of where everybody ended up, not that gut punch finale the series seemed to be building toward for years. This safe approach bled over into the characters, too. Instead of forcing them to really confront the full, messy cost of all their trauma, a lot of their character arcs were softened for comfort. Journeys that had been defined by struggle were given these neat, reassuring resolutions that, for many, just felt unearned and totally disconnected from the characters they'd followed for so long. This brings us to the final verdict from the fans. The ultimate issue wasn't a plot hole or a bad creative choice. It was something much deeper. An emotional void, born directly from the finale's extreme caution. And let's be super clear here. The greatest criticism wasn't about the mechanics of the plot. The story worked. The villain lost, the heroes won. All the pieces fit together just fine. No, the failure was purely emotional. A finale like this is supposed to be a cathartic, unforgettable experience. It's supposed to make you feel something, anything. But instead, for so many, it was just fine. No tears, no cheers, no stunned silence. It just ended. And that's maybe the most damning critique of all. For a show that made its audience feel so much terror and so much joy, the final emotion it delivered was nothing. Not love, not hate, but neutrality. An emotional flatline. And for a show like Stranger Things, a story built on these powerful emotions of friendship, nostalgia, and genuine fear, this emotional flatness is a critical failure. A tragic ending would have been debated for years. A neutral ending is simply forgotten. So, in the end, the finale didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it was careful. And in a final, ironic twist, the very caution meant to protect its legacy became its greatest weakness. Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. In this era of massive global franchises, is playing it safe actually the biggest risk of all?